Hello, Moto.
Hello student, good morning. Today, let us continue our discussion in Chapter 4, the testing program. But before this day end, I want to introduce myself. I am your reporter today, Daisy Delovio, taking a Bachelor of Science Elementary Education at the Stratford International School. Are you there, student? Okay. So before we proceed to our next lesson, let's have a recap first. The testing program. There are 9 steps in a complete testing program. First, planning the program. There are 9 factors to be considered. Second, determining the purpose of the program to determine the progress of the learners. Third, selecting the appropriate tests. Fourth, administering the test. And fifth, scoring the test. That was the previous lesson reported by Angel Salye Dalot. I hope from the start until the end of this lesson, you are there listening, watching, and understand. So be there, student. Our 6th in the 9 steps in a complete testing program is analyzing and interpreting the results. First, let us define what is the differentiate between analysis and the interpretation. Analysis is the process of uncovering patterns and trends in the data. It means that analyzing the student's performance, participation, and assessment. While interpretation is the process of assigning meaning to the data, means having or giving meaning to the results of the data. For example, Anna is a good and smart student in your class. After 4th grading, she obtained an average of 96%. All his academic, her assessment, examination are all recorded. And that of 96 average, she is now an outstanding student and always observed. So having an analyzation about her participation, her quizzes, assignments, or record, and that was analyzed by the teacher. And for the interpretation, she gained an outstanding student. So always remember that analysis is useless without interpretation, and interpretation is meaningless without analysis. Just remember that analyzing and interpreting the result is partner, just like testing and assessment. Next, the 7 steps in a complete testing program is applying the results. It is application of the results is vital to the whole testing program. Success or failure obtained by the learners either in exams, in quizzes, in assignments, and their participation, if they got high score, then they are very good and given an advanced work. But the learner who got low scores, they may or he or she may do a remedial instruction. This remedial instruction is implemented if a student requires temporary, additional, and specialist support for one or more core skills that cannot be provided by the teacher alone. For example, examination of mathematics subject. Carla got a 45 score out of 50, and Edgar got 15 out of 50. So now Edgar should undergo a remedial instruction. Remember, remedial instruction is giving other information, other lesson to those who got low score learners. So remedial instruction is given to Edgar such as visual aids like cards, multiplication table, or the videos from the internet. So, applying the results is very important for those who got a low score, for them to add more lessons, information to the learners doing a remedial instructions. So next, our 8 steps in a complete testing program. Retesting is to determine if there are improvements or progress with slow learners or those learners who got a low scores. It means it is a continuation of applying the results of the test. Let's go back to Edgar, who got a 15 scores out of 50. So he undergo a remedial instructions for giving him additional lessons and information about mathematics. So retesting or another set of examination will be given to Edgar if there is an improvement of his score from 15 out of 50. So this is very important to take more care of the teacher, the retesting, because retesting is known as improving their score. So it means that observation and evaluation motivation for those learners who got a low score or those those slow learners that cannot be easily understand. So retesting is very important to apply and take more care of the teacher. So our last steps in a complete testing program. Number 9, making suitable records and reports. It is to be most vital, essential, functional, and useful. Students' records must be comprehensive, cumulative, convenient, and accurate. In short, records and reports, same with anecdotal record, where it is detailed, descriptive, narrative record after a specific behavior or intention occurs. Means all information and behavior of a student is recorded through observation and their results. This is to help the teacher if their learners learn inside the classroom. But stated in the book that it is unethical and undesirable to report to parents the results of intelligence tests, especially if the learners receive low score. Why it is very confidential to report to the parents about their intelligence test, about their weakness inside the classroom? Why? Why it is unethical and undesirable to report to parents? Because, for instance, you report to the parents about one of your people. His score in examination. Now the parent may trigger and scold her child because of the score, or the parents may either compare to the other students. Why is this? Why my children is score like this? It's very low. It's just like that. The reason. So now, I have a research one of a teacher in elementary. According the teacher that I asked about this, she said, it is not bad to report to the parent because it is the parent should know what the behavior of the student inside the school, inside the classroom. So, but be fair. It means, example, his child is good in sports, but not in oral recitation. But the child, he do his best to do his part as a student. So, give the parents give positive outcomes to the parents so that the parent may know in advance what ability his child has and to avoid bullying from his classmates. But according to her, not all parents asking about his or her child inside the classroom. But as a teacher, uh, and it is implemented to have a records and reports about your individual learners. So this is what she experienced as a teacher. Making suitable records and reports is very important to enable you to know as a teacher in the near future. You will know what attitude or what ability of your students, your individual students inside your classroom. So before we proceed, let us review the 9 steps in a complete testing program. What are those? First, planning the program. Second, determining the purpose of the program. Third, selecting the appropriate tests. Fourth, administering the tests. Fifth, scoring the tests. Sixth, analyzing and interpreting the results. 7, applying the results. 8, retesting. And number 9, making suitable records and reports. Those are the 9 steps in a complete testing program. Next, let's talk about sociogram. Did you already heard the word sociogram? What is sociogram? In your own opinion, what is sociogram all about? So in my opinion, based of my report today, sociogram is to determine the ability of the students inside the classroom, how the relationship between of them, the likeness and dislike classmates. So according to the book by Laurentina Paller Calmorin, sociogram is a sociometric test. It means to determine the social relationships of the student among their peers or classmates. So it is a teacher-made device to enable them to know how the student or classmates accepted or dislike. So it is a tool for charting the relationships between a group. So it is more like have the student will vote those who they want to that position. So later, I will show you how to make a sociogram. So for now, let us know what are the five categories of sociometric test. What are those? First, we have STAR. Second, we have mutual choice. Third, we have click. Fourth, we have one-way choice. And last but not the least, it is isolate. So, what do you mean by STAR? So for me, as I experience students, STAR in education is you are doing good or gaining or having an achievements. So in the book, STAR is a student who has the highest number of votes chosen by his classmates. So those are what that is STAR. Second, we have mutual choice. Mutual choice is the students who choose or vote each other. Next, we have click. 3 or more students who choose or vote each other. Fourth, the one-way choice, who choose someone but they are chose did not vote. And the last is isolate. That chooses his friend but nobody choose him as a friend. So that are the 5 categories of sociometric test. We have yes, STAR. Yes, mutual choice. Third, yes, click. Fourth, yes, we have one-way choice. And the last is yes, very good. It is isolate. So those are the 5 categories of sociometric tests. So this is how Sociogram works to enable to know by the teacher about his students inside the classroom. For further discuss about Sociogram to enable you to understand and to stop being imagining what this illustration looks like, first we have discussed what are the 5 techniques in preparing Sociogram. Are you there, student? Okay, very good. So first technique in preparing Sociogram is formulate a question that is easy to understand. That is easy to understand by the learners or by the students. So for example, they have a group performance. And then the question is, who among of you should be the leader? So ask the students, who among of them do a position as a leader? So this is the formal question. So second technique in preparing sociogram is tell the student to write 3 choices. It means that the student choose 3 person or 3 students among to enable to know by the members or by the teachers who is the leader in their group or in their student. So you ask to the student, okay class, get a 1/4 a sheet of paper, write 3 names of your classmates. Who do you want or who want you to be a leader in your group? So that was the second techniques in preparing sociogram. So third, we have tally their responses. So now let's have the show you the illustration in tallying their response. So there are 10 students in your class to perform the said activity. So the leader undergo a vote for his or her classmates, chooses 3 students or 3 names in their classmates, where their names is Joseph, Lucy, Mark, Mary, Ann, Carlo, Lina, Paul, Daisy, and Jane. Those are the names of the students to choose 3 names to be voted who were put in the position as a leader. So as you can see in the table, there are 10 students named Joseph, Lucy, Mark, Mary, Ann, Carlo, Lina, Paul, Daisy, and Jane. Those are the 10 students. And then the 10 students will vote 3 names of their classmates. It means they choose or they write in the paper the 3 names who do you want to the position in as a leader. So for example, Joseph vote Mark, Mary, and Ann. So 1 point for Mark, 1 point for Mary, and 1 point for Ann. Next, Lucy vote 3 person. We have Joseph, Mark, and Paul. So Lucy voted 3 person, included Joseph, Mark, and Paul. So 1 point for Joseph, 1 point for Mark, and 1 point for Paul. Next we have Mark. Mark voted 3 person again. So he voted Joseph, Mary, and Lina. So 1 point for Joseph, 1 point for Mary, and 1 point for Lina. Next we have Mary. Mary vote 3 person or 3 students. We have 1 point for Joseph, 1 point for Lucy, and 1 point for Jane. Next we have Ann. Ann vote Joseph, 1 point. Ann vote Mary, 1 point. Ann vote Carlo, 1 point. 3 person. Next we have Carlo. Carlo vote Joseph, 1 point. Lucy, 1 point. And then Lina, 1 point. Next, we have Lina. Lina vote Joseph. Lina vote Mary, 1 point. And then 1 point for Paul. Next, we have Paul. Paul vote Joseph. Paul vote Mark. And Paul vote Anne. Next, we have Daisy. Daisy vote Joseph. Daisy vote Mark. And 1 point for Jane. And the last person is Jane. Jane vote Joseph. Mark vote Jane vote Mark. And then the last person she vote is Paul. So those are the tally of their score. So we add, we have Joseph. Joseph have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 person or 9 student voted Joseph. Next we have Lucy. Lucy have 2 votes. Mark have 5 votes. Mary have 4 votes. Anne have 2 votes. Carlo have 1 vote. Lina have 2 votes. Paul have 3 votes. Daisy 0 or no one or no students vote to her. And then the last Jane is have 2 votes. So those their tally scores or their responses as the voting line of tally their responses. So now the 4 techniques in preparing sociogram is prepare a sociogram showing the results. So this is now the illustration of sociogram. As you can see, remember the 5 categories and social metric. We have, what are those? Star, second, mutual choice, third, click, fourth, one-way choice, and the 5th is isolate. Remember that Joseph have 9 votes. He is in the star position. So it means star, it put in the center. So Joseph now at the center of all her member of all his members or all his classmates who vote to him. So Daisy, as we remember that she is a isolate, so no vote from her. So arrow representing the number of votes. So as we can see, arrow from Joseph, we have 9. From Mary, from Lucy, from Mark, from Daisy, from Jane, from Paul, from Lina, from Carlo, from Anne, and from Mary. So there are 9 classmates vote Joseph. So arrow, remember, arrow representing the numbers of votes. So Lucy have 2 arrows pointing to her from Mary and from Carlo. Mary have 3 votes. So from Mark, from Joseph, and from Anne. So Anne have 2 votes from Joseph and from Paul. Then Carlo have 1 vote from Anne. And then Lina have 2 votes from Carlo and from Mark. And then Paul have 3 votes from Lucy, from Jane, and from Lina. Jane have 2 votes from Mary and from Daisy. And Daisy, as we can see, we did not see an arrow pointing to her name. So remember, she is in isolate. So 0, 0 vote. So no classmates vote Daisy. So we did not see an arrow pointing to her. But Daisy vote 3 person, which is Mark, Jane, and Joseph. Mark have to 5 votes. They have 5 votes from Lucy, from Joseph, from Paul, from Jane, and from Daisy. So this is now the sociogram illustration. So remember, always remember that the star, which is Joseph, will put or draw at the center of all the members of all the classmates. And then the isolate going to the under the star at the right or at the left position. So sociogram is now the teacher will know who is the most whose student the most vote to be as the leader in a group performance for their activity. So we have Joseph as their leader. So the fifth and the last technique in preparing sociogram is analyze the sociogram to determine who is the most accepted or liked by his classmates. So as we can see, as we see in the illustration sociogram showing the results, that we all know that Joseph is the star. So he is put in the center of all his classmates, so surrounded by his classmates. So Joseph arrows representing the numbers of vote. So Joseph got 9 votes, so there are 9 arrows pointed to him. So this is now the sociogram showing the relationships of the students inside the classroom, and the teacher enabled him or her understand what ability has his students during class R. So sociogram is very important to discuss, to give value to those learners, to both benefits from the teacher and from the students, so that they understand each other inside the classroom, inside their learning areas. So those are the 5 techniques in preparing sociogram. So what are those 5 techniques in preparing sociogram? We have formulate a question that is easy to understand. Second, tell the students to write 3 choices. Third, tally their responses. Fourth, prepare a sociogram showing the results. And fifth, analyze the sociogram. Those are the 5 techniques in preparing sociogram. So our last discussion is about the uses of sociogram. What are the uses of sociogram? There are 5 uses of sociogram. What are those? First, we have the teacher can easily recognize who among his students can work harmoniously in a group work. Second, good rapport with each other can be attained among the students. Third, we have the star is assigned as leader in any activities because many like him or many vote him. And then fourth, we have the isolate is not neglected and he will be assigned to a group of his choice, even there are no classmates vote him or her. And the last, we have the sociogram can identify the students who are compatible with each other and those who are not compatible. So those are the uses of sociogram. So thank you for watching and listening to my video. Goodbye!